So a few months ago, you guys might remember, while I was filming my Glow Peptide video, something really weird happened to my face. The left side of my face became noticeably red. Not my whole face, just one side of my face, and it seemed really, really odd. So if you reference that Glow Stack peptide video, you'll understand that the combination in Glow Stack includes copper peptides, GHK-Cu. After jumping online and doing some research, I understood that this is one side effect that can happen from using injectable copper peptides. And this side effect, although I injected the Glow Stack for a month, only happened one time and it subsided super fast. So I don't want to share this in like a fear-mongering way. I just want to bring it to your attention because we're going to be starting a new cycle. And I'm interested to see if this time I noticed the same side effect or if that was just a one-off. And because I share all this stuff with you guys, I think it's super important to always talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, just everything we're observing and experiencing. So I hope you appreciate that. All right, so this month, we are starting a new cycle, and this time I'm just doing copper peptides alone. I'm not doing it in a combination peptide. Here's my blue vial of copper peptides. And if you're interested in where I get my peptides and all that kind of sourcing information, then make sure to head below and check out the blog because that's where we share. So this week I started a 30-day cycle with our friend GHK-Cu. And right now it's one of the most talked about peptides for skin, hair, and longevity. So of course, why are we not injecting this bad boy? So this is my protocol. For the first 15 days of the month, I will inject 1 milligram per night. And then I will double my dose to 2 mgs per night for days 16 through 30. And then we'll take a full 30 days off. So my understanding is that we can do a cycle of GHK-Cu 6 times a year or every other month. Wouldn't that be an amazing before and after video if I was able to do 12 months on and off for 6 times of it? But of course, this first month, I am super curious. Do we notice any changes in my skin, in my recovery, in my hair quality? Man, I sure hope so because my hair right now is driving me bonkers. You guys, I need this copper peptide to really come through for me. And of course, I wanted a better overall sense of well-being. I also wonder if my experience this time will be completely different than my Glow Stack experience, or if I'll experience some of these side effects. So let's break down what GHK-Cu is, because I'm sure a lot of you are like, what is this? I mean, it is blue, but besides being blue, what is it? GHK-Cu isn't some new discovery. Researchers have known about this copper peptide for decades. It's actually a naturally occurring molecule made up of 3 amino acids bound to copper, and levels naturally decline as we age. Super unfortunate, but as we get older, we make less copper peptides. What makes it interesting is that researchers have studied its potential role in tissue repair, collagen production, wound healing, hair health, and cellular signaling. You guys, those are all things that we want and need, especially in our 40s and 50s, and as we start, maturing more, we need more of these things to be supported. So I'm super excited about this peptide. Some people refer to it as a reset peptide because of its potential ability to influence genes involved in repair and regeneration. Now, before anyone gets carried away, it's important to understand that much of the excitement surrounding GHK-Cu comes from laboratory research, animal studies, and personal reports. Okay, so it sounds amazing, but before any of us get carried away and super excited, we have to come back to reality. There have not been a lot of human studies done on this. This is all based on lab studies done mostly on animals and theoretical ideas. And then also, if you get on Reddit pages, you will see personal reports of people claiming these benefits and what they're observing. But again, this is not scientifically valid yet for humans because the human data is still evolving. But the science behind it is fascinating enough that, of course, I wanted to try it out and see what I experienced. So the protocol that I'm following, again, is pretty straightforward. And it's pretty much, if you go online, like the typical protocol for using it. So you're going to do 1 mg per night for 15 nights in a row. Then you're going to switch it up to 2 mgs per night for days 16 through 30. And then you're going to go cold turkey for 30 days. And then you could recycle back on for another 30 days. But you need to do it for 30 days on, 30 days off is my understanding, because you need time for that infusion of copper peptides to actually go to work. So you can't just keep pumping yourself full of copper peptides. You need to give it time to grow and rebuild collagen and be stimulated itself. One thing that, of course, I've experienced myself and learned over so many years of trying everything under the sun and sharing with you guys is that no one thing usually creates a miracle overnight unless it's, a neurotoxin. Speaking of which, next week's video will be a video all about doing the Russian tox technique and how I map out my face and utilize that method for getting a more lifted, youthful looking face. So make sure to subscribe and tune in because I think next week's video will be great for you guys. Usually we can look at something and be super excited about it, but it's going to take time for it to actually cause the effects we're looking for. Skin and beauty are just like going to the gym. You can't go to the gym one time and expect to have the body you crave. It takes consistency, and so does all of this stuff. But I hope as your human guinea pig, we can experience some great insights together as I go through this process. So that weird redness I experienced in my face during that glow peptide video was odd, but it's not uncommon. And it did subside very quickly within an hour of me showing it to you guys. Of course, this time using the copper peptide again, I do wonder, will I have the same experience? I've researched this, and guess what it's called? It's called the copper uglies. This is a term used by the peptide community to describe an adaptation phase where skin becomes red, bumpy, and irritated as GHK-Cu accelerates cell turnover. This is what's weird, you guys. So you would think that if there's an adaptation phase and your body's getting used to being injected with copper peptides, you would think that it would happen maybe in the beginning of your cycle. But however, there could be like a ramp up as the peptide builds in your system. Because for me, when I started the glow stack, I didn't experience this. It was actually almost to the end of my cycle where all of a sudden I was like, what happened? And it only happened one time. So I think maybe keep that in mind, that you might start using the copper peptides, whether you use it in a glow stack or you use it directly in this single use volume like I am. And maybe you're like, oh yeah, I don't experience the red irritation that Kim talked about. But maybe at the end of your cycle, you see it happen just because maybe there's enough buildup of the copper peptide in your system where all of a sudden that side effect happens. Again, I don't know. These are just me reasoning what could have taken place. And this week so far, I haven't noticed any side effects. The only thing that I did notice the other night was I was sleeping and then I would like wake up and be like, oh, what's going on? It almost felt like I worked out one of my glutes really hard. And then I realized that that was where I injected the copper peptide that night. And it was just like a really kind of like throbbing, irritated pain. It just felt really sore, but not hot or anything, just kind of like sore. And that's also a side effect sometimes from the injection of copper peptides. You can have this like, sometimes they sting being injected. I have actually not noticed any stinging with this peptide in particular, but some people will complain about copper peptides having like a stinging effect when you're injecting them. Again, I haven't noticed that with this peptide. I think I did notice some stinging with the glow, but I haven't noticed this round with this single use peptide so far. So we'll see. But I did notice that it was kind of painful the one night. And I think it was like the third night I had injected or something. So it's weird. You guys, it's like so weird to kind of document this thing and be like, oh, this was a one-off night, but I'm not sure why. So anyways, I just share all this with you because if you're experiencing some of these things, maybe this makes sense to you. Okay, so one of the biggest conversations surrounding copper peptides right now is, does the injection work better than topicals? For instance, I have this topical serum. I got this from Amazon. It's called and you can see that there is a blue hue to this serum. Now, it's not nearly as blue as my injectable copper peptide, right? Like there's a huge difference between these. But the question is applying a serum like this that has copper peptides in it as effective as injection? And of course, the theory is pretty simple. When you apply a serum that has some copper peptides in it like this, you're applying it topically directly to where you hope that it imparts some value. And, with our skin, there's a barrier, which is why we like to microneedle things like this in so we can get them deeper. But there's less of a systemic effect. So for instance, when you inject, you get it into your bloodstream, and that's more of a systemic effect throughout your entire body. You can also see that there's probably less copper peptides in this serum than in my injectable. So which one is better? I don't know. We're going to see. And I don't know if there's massive conclusions yet in scientific research to tell us, but definitely in my mind, I think injecting the copper peptide probably goes a lot further than kind of a watered down copper peptide serum like this one. So when people inject the copper peptide, they're hoping for a broader spectrum of potential benefit throughout the body, from skin to recovery to hair to longevity. And because of that, people who inject believe that there's more value to injecting than just topically using copper peptides. And this is where the conversation becomes interesting, because of course we'd love to know, do topicals work as good as injection, or is injection like 1,000 times better? And I really hope that people are doing the research right now to give us answers, because these would be great answers to have. So although there's plenty of enthusiasm around copper peptides and the injection of copper peptides, there's still not a lot of science evidence data because there's still not large-scale human trials helping prove what people are claiming online. And I don't want to be one of those people who's claiming that injecting copper peptides is going to revolutionize your life. You guys, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, this is just me here in my home, testing it out and sharing with you guys. So again, the goal for me is always to learn and experience and give you guys any insight I'm able to. So this is where we're starting. We're going to do 30 days injecting the copper peptides, GHK-Cu. I'm going to do 15 days of 1 milligram, and then we're going to do 15 days of 2 milligrams, and then we're going to take 30 days off. And I hope that this video just gives you guys some insight of what you could hope to expect from copper peptides if you choose to use them topically or you choose to inject them. And I hope that also it gives you guys insight that we don't know scientifically yet what to expect, but a lot of people online are claiming amazing results. So I hope to have a great experience with this. I'm back and it's actually been 60 days, not 30. I'm a horrible scientist. Because it's summer and I've been traveling a ton this year, I did have some breaks in my protocol just because I hate traveling with peptides. I always feel like they're going to get too warm, they're gonna break, or even on trips, sometimes I just forget to use them. With that in mind, I did not keep the 30-day protocol that I had planned for this video, but I still thought it was important to get in here and share my experience with you guys. I also hope by sharing the reality of life, you feel better about yourself, because I think keeping some of these protocols is really hard for a lot of us, especially if you travel a bunch. I made some notes. So this is what I noticed. Did I experience the copper uglies? No, you guys, never once did my skin break out or even get that half face flushed red. So I don't know what happened last time with the glow stack. Maybe it wasn't even related, but using copper peptides straight this time, I did not experience any redness in my face. Did I experience injection site pain? Yes. Oh my goodness, you guys. I think it's rare that I didn't experience pain at the injection site. It's not actually the stinging of injecting the peptide, which I think some people do complain about. I don't have that, but it's like maybe an hour after injecting, then that area just starts to ache a little bit and feel like I overworked it, or it's just kind of a dull aching pain. And a lot of times I do my peptide injections at night. So sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night, I'll be like, what is going on? Why do I feel this pain? And it's always the copper peptide. Did I experience hair growth? Yes, I feel like my hair grew a ton this summer, and I want to believe that it was due to utilizing copper peptides. My hair is longer than it was when I started, and of course it's been time, so the hair is going to grow, but if you feel like your hair is kind of stunted or breaking a lot, I definitely feel like I got more growth this summer. I also feel like in my roots and just like the fullness of my hair, it just feels so much healthier and thicker. So I'm going to give it to copper peptides for it. Is it a true scientific concept? No, because I do microneedle my scalp, as you've seen, and I use exosomes as well. But I think it really aided in tissue repair and helping with hair density. Oh my gosh, you guys, my nails are growing like weeds, and I need to get my nails done because they are really grown out. But I wanted to show you guys because this is only 2 weeks of growth, and normally this would be like a month for me. Do you see that? That's like the area. So this is where my cuticle is, and then that's the space. So there's like a lot of outgrowth to the point where I'm even breaking a nail. We'll get them fixed this week. So I think one of the biggest noticeable changes is in the fullness of my face. And in fact, I just saw over the course of the last month some comments saying, Kim, did you get filler? Your face looks so much fuller. No, there's no filler in my face. Honestly, you guys, I think it's just the collagen finally growing. And I think the copper peptides have helped induce that because copper peptides help with collagen production. And I think it's helped make my face look more full versus how angular it was looking. So for myself, with all of this in mind, I feel like continuing using copper peptides as an injectable is a good protocol for me. I've been happy with it so far, minus the pain that kind of happens from the injection site. But besides that, I like the overall effect that it's having so far, so I'm going to stick with it this fall. Tell me in the comments if you guys have used copper peptides or you're considering it. I'd love to know your experience. I'm super curious. Oh, and remember, next week is the Russian tox technique video, so I hope you guys will subscribe and tune in for that, and I'll see you there.